This is episode 357 of the Gold Squadron podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Will IG789 Hegwood, and tonight I'm joined by Ryan, partaking in ungentlemanly warfare, Stanzewski.
Yeah, it was a really good movie. People should see it. Oh, well, all right. It was a good movie. Really good might be a little too high, but worth seeing.
It looks like a ton of fun.
Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Yeah, the actors look like they had a ton of fun. If you watched the movie, you could tell they had a good time.
That's a Guy Ritchie joint, right?
Yes, it is.
All right, so I'm in.
There it is. That's all it takes.
I sign off. Whatever he does.
Like, if I were to equate it to anything, it'd be like if it was Inglourious Bastards, but less Quentin Tarantino.
Right, and more, yeah. I mean, so it's like Snatch, basically.
Not aware of that one.
Oh, also a Guy Ritchie movie. Very enjoyable. You'll like it.
We'll have to check it out.
Put it on the list. We also have James. Well, world has taken my life. I believe that's Wild World.
Wild World.
This is Wild World. Ritter.
Yeah, it's an old game. Just took over my life and my weekend. Ton of fun. It was on sale.
I mean,
$4. Yeah.
I'll take sometimes. And our guest for the evening, we humbly present Jeremy of the Kessel Run, Chamblee.
Hi. Boy, who actually knows what that is anymore?
Put a comment down below if you get that reference.
Well, from your
Joker 2.
retirement home.
Yeah, connect to the dial-up internet.
It's okay, Grandpa. It's time to go home now.
Before we
Don't
go
worry, your grandkids will
into
call you.
our headlines for this week, of course, I gotta thank the Patreons. Patreons are what keeps all the lights on, keeps us moving, and gets us to events as well. So big shout out to them. If you want to help in that, go to patreon.com/goldsquadron. So, big headlines. Last week, we're going to get to Chamblee. Actually, before we get to the headlines, Jeremy.
Yes.
Who are you?
Cat. Boy. Well, I'm me. Last I checked. I've been playing this dumb game for I don't know, since 2012, I think. Something stupid like that. I don't know. I have very poor choices in hobbies because I did 40K before this and Warhammer before this, and I guess now again. I play dumb minis games and roll lots of dice, and I don't know. I have I guess just man child forever. That's me.
That works for me. Rapid fire gotcha questions.
Uh-oh.
Give me your lightsaber color and your favorite ship of Star Wars.
Lightsaber color probably green. Favorite ship probably TIE Interceptor.
Okay. Nice. Just a little get to know ya, so the audience is.
Yeah, I like bad guys, but the red lightsaber is
I was expecting
too basic.
red. Gonna be honest.
It's too basic. Green is the thinking man's lightsaber.
Exactly. All right. Well, before we get into more about Jeremy and his Worlds run, we got to talk about grand tournaments. AMG announced here. I have it pulled up. If you're a viewer, you're creeping in on us here. That they have redefined organized play for all of their lines. Legion, Shatterpoint, X-Wing, Armada, and Crisis Protocol. That's right. They said the words Armada, James. Get amped.
Armada mentioned.
Armada mentioned. Put that on your bingo sheet for this year. Anyways, they put in a great article explaining about what and how. I think they posted multiple as well. The announcement and kind of just an overview. But to cover it, basically, grand tournaments are events that should be at either conventions or large events. This isn't every other month tournament at your local game store. This is going to be like the big yearly event wherever you play X-Wing. We expect it at conventions, Gen Con, Adepticon, Nova, things like that. But there's not really a lot of limitation on where there can be one. So we do expect high level, or not high level, what do I want to say? High populous areas that have been running big regionals, big store events to also maybe qualify for one of these grand tournaments. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of information other than I think just that the requirements to run one, which is at least 2 judges and 32 players, and be a real place.
Yep.
They use the word legitimate
Also,
location.
follow the rules.
Follow the rules.
Exactly.
Exactly as it is in the tournament document.
Follow the rules, please.
And in its entirety.
No homebrew worlds. You hate to see it.
So yeah, that has been very clear. But from what, other than the schedule, we also have the schedule from June 24 to May 25 as well, and we should hear more announcements after their selection process that ends May 15th. So, I mean, if there's events already happening in June, we should imagine, start expecting news at the beginning of June to see what grand tournaments. Is there anything else that we know for sure about them? You can apply for them. They're just taking any applications right now if you can run an event of this type.
Applications must be submitted by May 1st, 2024. So
That's true.
It's
a quick deadline.
Very soon. Yes.
We did say that we would like to run one. I'll throw my name in the hat. I don't have an event lined up or a venue lined up, but hopefully.
Is it a real place?
I will find a real actual place.
Legitimate venue?
Yeah, legitimate public venue.
I just hope we get to do the what is it, like the community center that Phil found and do PhilCon. I'll do Phil GT.
We were talking about getting one of those pop-up tents, but someone said that there's too much regulation with them.
That's a real place.
I mean,
just some church parking lot. You get the pop-up tent. That's a real place.
Yeah. Someone said there might be too many problems with that, but you know what? We'll figure it out.
Nah. I foresee no issues.
Unfortunately, not in a week's time. But like I said, hopefully a lot of places who are prepared for that, big conventions who already have been running X-Wing events in the past, already plan on doing one of these GTs. Fingers crossed they get approved. But I know Josh, who is manning the Nova convention, so he's obviously applying for one to make sure that they get official support for that convention. So if you are running a big event, obviously submit an application. But right now, not a lot of other information at this time about the grand tournaments, unless I'm missing something.
Did we say 32 is the minimum for
32
players?
Minimum,
yeah. And also minimum judges. I don't know if
minimum
it is.
It's like 2 per 16 people or something like that.
2 per 16. Yeah.
Minimum
So I don't know if
one per 16, so 2 for 32.
Oh yeah.
Right. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to say at least 2. Have 2.
I don't know if that means that if there's 33 people, there needs to be 3 judges. Yep. I would assume that
Correct.
It's
the 33rd person can be their own judge. I trust them.
I just didn't know because it could be.
That's what they're implying. Yes.
Okay. It could be at the next number of 16, which would be 48. Then there's the 3rd judge. Like a full set of 16.
That's how math works, but sure.
We just don't know.
Yeah.
We
are unsure of, but you do need a team of judges. You can't just have one event marshal or whatever to do the whole thing, to run it and to do pairings and judge calls and yada yada yada. Turns out events take a lot of work, a lot of manpower.
It does have actual prizes, at least for the top 4 and the event winner, which is that last sentence above the how does an event qualify for grand tournament status. But it also
Top 4
talks
players
about
with the higher value rewards, and of course, a trophy for the event champion. Complete list of
Right,
prizes
yeah.
will be announced once the events are selected and scheduled. So, like I said, that's what we're looking forward to early June. I'm trying to remember the event that is at the end of June. It's not in the United States, but
Is that like the UK Games Expo or
oh
whatever?
yeah, it's the
UKGE, yeah.
yeah
Yeah, that's it.
UKGE,
it's
yeah.
some acronym. So I'll trust you on
Yeah,
that's what the acronym
yeah.
was. So
They did note that every GT event will have the same level of competition and reward structure. I don't know if this is going to carry over. I assume so because they mentioned it at Worlds and be part of the initial plan, but I guess plans can change. They did say that the prize wall structure they set up at Worlds would carry over into like this year of OP to be similar setup. So
So
They
my
did
everyone can
my
get their
assumption
own,
is the
their own
prize wall
smug
is
Dooku. That's
consistent.
good.
Yeah, the prize wall will be consistent throughout the whole year, having the same content, but then the extra awards for the higher placement is what will separate it.
They did say that the prize wall will move things in and out of the prize wall during the prize wall announcement. So
Okay,
get your
gotcha.
smug Dooku's now before they're gone forever.
Yeah. So
I really like
yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to see if there's anything else in the announcement beyond the
From what
the announcement was more went into like the why of part of it, which I don't know if we got time to go over that whole aspect.
I think I could try to sum it up, but this will work better for them. They're excited to have events, but the previous structure was not working. So this more uniform structure hopefully will be more accessible. We'll have more events. We're still quoting that Will Schick more. So there is only 8 world qualifiers in the United States and, well, North America, we'll say. So we're hoping for more than those 8 world qualifiers and have a lot more of these grand tournaments.
I think the last thing I'll say is it looks like there will be participation prizes of some kind because that second sentence there where it rewarding players for the act of playing over the act of winning.
Yep.
So it looks like there will be participation prizes of some kind.
Yeah, and I mean with the prize wall, obviously we couldn't get everything from it at Worlds. So maybe we'll have to go to a second GT to collect that.
Man, we
different
found
ships.
so many tickets at Worlds, and that still wasn't enough to put a dent in the thing.
My calculations was you needed to play like 50 or 60 games to win one of the bumpers, the little
It was a lot.
150 ticket bumper.
I mean, I have a bumper. I got one.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it was 100 tickets for the bumper. I got one.
Yeah,
well.
It was a lot, but I got one.
Okay. I think we convinced Chris to let us just keep ours, so we have them in the stream.
And my smug Dooku.
The stream kit,
that one too.
GSP has them, but
yeah.
No, not me personally, unfortunately.
Yeah, I got my bumper and I got all of my Alt-Art SLs.
There you go.
Huge.
Wow, that is pretty big.
And your money dice.
And the dice.
The dice.
Wow.
Nice. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, we're very excited. Did the intro.
Yeah, I guess my biggest thing, like, I'm excited to not have my entire schedule in the first half of every year to be centralized around only Adepticon. Like, now, if I want... Now, granted, Adepticon moved to Milwaukee. Like, I'm kind of excited to go check that out. But also, now I can just, like, plan to go do other things. Like, I've never been to LVO yet. I probably should check that out.
Yep.
I think you were planning to go this year, right? And you're just like,
I considered
never
it.
mind. Yeah.
Sure.
We would love to have you.
Fun.
We'd love to have you this year.
Vegas is fun.
Yeah, my only complaint with LVO is that it's off the strip. So you're
for better or worse.
That's my positive for LV.
There's trade-offs, of course.
That it's off the strip.
Yeah,
I mean, the strip is good. It's good people watching.
I've been told everything is there, so it's very convenient, but it's all expensive.
Yeah,
it is expensive. Yeah. I think the dinner that we had that last night was like $100 a person. And
what?
Is that right?
No, that Korean barbecue. No.
Yeah. Are you sure?
No. We tipped well, which is why.
The difference is so like the year we went to LVO, one of the years we went, we would go to like the Gordon Ramsay Steakhouse or whatever, and like the steak is like $120, right? Like it's expensive. But if you go one street over off the strip and go to a bar there and just get bar food, it's like $20. So you get what you can find expensive stuff very easily, but you can also survive.
Yeah. So I'm excited to hear what ends up being a grand tournament. I'm hoping, like I said, the major conventions are going to have one, obviously. But to see what kind of grassroots ones pop up as well. Because I know there's a lot of passionate communities, not just in X-Wing. Obviously, we're X-Wing focused, but these are for all the different events. So maybe
I have a question for you, Will.
I will have an answer.
All right. So if there are indeed more than 8 of these across the United States, and last year we tried to make it to as many of these as possible of the last chance qualifiers or the world qualifiers.
World qualifiers, yeah.
Sorry. Do you foresee us maybe making it to more of these grand tournaments to actually be able to stream if there are more of them, especially in more convenient places?
I mean, I got like an 8-hour radius of driving I can get to, which gets me pretty far. Beyond that, it starts getting expensive to travel. Traveling with the
I think we have
begins to get expensive.
We have someone on the West Coast, East Coast, and in Chicago, right in the middle of the country. So I think we can hopefully make it to Ryan.
Does that count?
I mean,
is he in the EST time zone?
Ryan's more Canada than East Coast. No offense to label you, Ryan. But...
No offense to Canadians.
Yeah.
No offense to Canadians.
I'm in East Coast time zone. I'm close to Canada. Those are both true statements.
Those are both true. Okay. Well, either way, I hopefully to there. All right, here you can answer the question. No, go ahead.
All right, go ahead. Oh, yes, more. I would love to go to all the GTs, but that's probably going to be impractical. But the moment the schedule pops up, man, we'll start making arrangements.
We'll sit down. We'll look at the schedule and see what's possible.
Do the actual just do the GSP Roadshow and just start.
I mean, if I could
start on one coach.
I have a job. I have a job, Jeremy.
You can work remote.
Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe I have a job this time next year.
Work from the tour bus. How bad can it be?
Oh man, if we got a tour bus, oh my goodness.
The GSP charter.
Van. It could be a van. This is a tour bus.
You just want your van back, Will.
I do want my van back. I want a working van. That's not a working like I'm gonna go do
man van.
No, but I would like one that functions 100%. That's all I ever wanted in life. Anyways, very excited. It took me by surprise. We were expecting an announcement much later, so good to know that still got organized play. But
of course, and also we got to pour one out for Worlds.
I mean,
oh yeah, I guess we do have to at least address that.
Well, I'm in the denial phase right now.
Yep.
I'll start bargaining here if you get me.
Guys, we've already had the last Worlds. That was in 2019. This is just the second last Worlds. Don't worry about it.
I'm hoping that we can persuade them enough to at least put the moniker of Worlds on the Adepticon event. even if it's just in name.
Sure. Yeah,
I mean,
it's all up in the air. Who knows? Who knows what the future holds, right?
if I just bring a world champion of X-wing trophy to Adepticon and give it to the winner, I think that counts, right?
Sure.
Count it.
Count it. No, they probably want something different.
No, it's simple. We just we pick. So we have the list of all the GT events, and then we have to just get them all together, get a nice piece of paper or something like that, then throw it into a hat, shuffle it up, and pick one, and that's Worlds.
That is probably exactly the most
I,
AMG thing to do. Like to
Worlds is
have it
gonna be-
randomized because it's all the same level of event.
Worlds in a hat.
Well, I mean,
Worlds in a
probably
hat.
the AMG thing would be to not do that, but that's more like funny X-Wing thing to do.
Can I offer a I like your idea, Jeremy, but I'm gonna add one to it. But you have to tell me is it just called electronic football where the table starts vibrating and the little people start moving around and stuff, right?
Definitely.
It's electronic football.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna take all the winners' lists.
It's so loud.
We're gonna take all the winners' lists, okay, and we're gonna have the single player bot rules for our ships.
Okay.
We're just gonna have them bot fight each other.
Okay, I like it.
And eventually we'll determine a winner.
I like this. This is a good plan.
That way, at least somebody will win. In that game, I don't even know what two AIs fighting each other would even look like. I imagine like electronic football to where just hopefully...
Just can you have fly casual AI versus AI?
I'm sure. We'll put it in
Let's make that happen.
Either way,
Fly Casual Invitational, where all the winners' lists from the GTs go into a big Fly Casual bracket, and we have to watch it.
It would just be the tankiest ships, right?
I
don't know how Fly Casual works.
Built different, man. That Fly Casual AI, who knows?
Well,
but yeah, do that, and then we can we can place some friendly wagers on it.
Wagers.
Perhaps
that's a great way to put it.
Friendly wagers. A game of skill.
There you go.
A game of skill. Yeah.
Speaking of a game of skill, let's stop talking about maybe future worlds, and let's talk about the worlds that actually happened.
True, it was there. I was there, and it happened.
Jeremy, I'm going to pull up your list. You flew the Empire.
Svelte segue. I like it. Wow. This guy's a pro. 357.
You got, spoiler alert, got all the way to the top 8. Very impressive. With a 4-ship squad. Unheard of in today's meta.
True. Can't be done.
I have it pulled up in front of us. Can you break it down? Some reasonings why you brought these ships. And how they were so successful.
Sure. Well, the nice thing is that breaking down the actual list is really easy because there's only 3 of them are SLs, so problem solved. And then Rack has a just heinous number of upgrades. It's actually disturbing. I hate it. Yeah. So pretty much the gist of it is. We've got this super giga tanky Rack that is a giant points pinata, but also he's a huge pain to kill. So it kind of, takes a good chunk of your list to bring him down. Played the same thing at Unplugged. Rack anyway. But back then we had Vader and Bombers and other stuff and Faroff. And then Jendon comes along, and he is also 7 points. And he also requires basically a whole list to really bring down. So the premise is just, I have 2 7-point things that are really hard to kill, and you can probably get one of them. Hard to get both. But by the time that's done, they do a lot of damage. And then Telmax and Deathfire are also there. And they front load a bunch of damage to make it harder. And then if you actually take the time to go kill those 2, which is very doable, they're very, very mortal, those are shots not going into the big 7-point guys. So that's kind of the bit. more or less.
Did you lose both of them in any of your games?
And still won is what I think he was trying to
Oh God,
allude to.
no.
Well, just in general, did you lose both in any games?
I think I did. I didn't lose both of them in top 8, and I didn't lose either of them in one of my games I lost. And then, yeah, I think. No, I don't think I lost both of them in a game. If you did, you'd probably lose. That's probably just super game over.
I mean, how many scramble points do you have to get to outweigh
Quite a
14
Yeah,
points of your squad?
that's quite a few. And I'd be very impressed at the list that can bring down Rack and Agenda in like, a reasonable time frame. That's a really good trick.
After Endor came out, how quickly or what was sort of the journey you went through to get to this?
So we didn't have a lot of turnaround time. So I think what I can do probably go. So my team, right, is me and Cox and Paul and Travis. Technically Brunus, but he really can't. Like Chris can't actually really do anything. So we are the Brunus boys, but like he's not. He can't actually do anything. So he's technically present as a Brunus should be. Um, but that's kind of our team. Uh, and so this kind of started around Unplugged, basically. So we we got all of our stuff prepped and done for Unplugged. We brought a bunch of decimators and did all the rack stuff, and Unplugged went pretty well too. And then we kind of took a little break ski since we had like stuff going on and Endor was coming. We don't really know what to expect with it. You can only Marmo point things for so long before you get a kind of a feel for what it is. So, like a general when points change, how we do things is we just start counting to 20 a bunch and just go, hey, this fits. Should we play this? This fits. What are your thoughts? And just you make a bunch of lists of things that fit, and then it's just what's your gut check? Just looking at this, it's like, huh, or that looks bad, or I want to play that, and that's kind of like the categories, I guess. And I think the Rack Jendon the initial read on that was, hey, this fits. And it's kind of a, huh. Anyway, because we had lots of rack trauma from Unplugged, because rack is a bad crit magnet. Homeboy loves taking those game-ending crits. I lost a game at Unplugged, and it was 100% on my fault, of course. I did everything correct, as always. But that was a game where I think Rack took like a hull breach into a weapons failure. It was horrific. Just before he even shot, it was awful. So Rack and Tomax are big bad crit magnets. So we kind of got spooked off them a little bit, even though it works. Like it works. It's effective. It has kind of a boy. This game's fate isn't really in my hands, and I don't like that. I would much prefer my fate to be in my own hands and not the scary crit deck. So we kind of put it off to the side. We weren't really into it at the time. So the stuff we were more into when Endor came around was the infamous Paul's list, which was that the Swarm Tactics, Fenral, Luke, Endor Wedge? That's what it was, yeah. It was the Swarm Tactics, Fenral, Endor Wedge, Boy Luke, and then whatever else fits in that. And it was just a triple I6, like Giga Alpha Strike stuff. And that was the quote-unquote Paul's list, because I think Travis was playing it, and then Paul said, hey, I want to try that. And he said, I like it. And then, okay, now it's Paul's list. So it was Paul's list. So Paul and Travis were playing that for the longest time. And then I was playing Vader Soontir, Vader, Endor Soontir, Deathfire, Tomax, Laurier, I think, whatever. Just 3/3s, whatever you can find. I was playing that for a long time because Endor Soontir is nuts. He's very silly. Wins lots of games by himself. Very fun. But I was playing like locals and stuff, and I was finding that Soontier has kind of there's a bit of like decision fatigue, and there's a bit of sometimes I might like I was playing a game and my signal flares went up when I was playing a game that I was very comfortably winning. I had no issues. I was gonna plow through this no problem, and then all of a sudden Soontier took like 2 damage. He got halved in chance, and I was like, wait, I don't like this, and now I'm losing, and I was not losing before. I was not even close to losing before, and I was like, wait, I don't like this. This is scary. And for whatever reason, I just didn't want to play Rebels because I don't know. And then, so we were playing other stuff before we settled on the world stuff because Travis was famously anti B wings. He was like, "Oh, these B wings, they can't do it. They can't hang. They're not good enough. There's no way. I don't believe." Because Travis is the one who loves B wings more than anything. So, in true Travis fashion, he won't play it unless he is 100% sure that it's good. So he was the last one, the final convert to the B-wing cause.
Yeah.
And then
I'm also a big B-wing fan, and
yeah,
I
right.
too did not believe
Did
until
not
I saw
believe.
it.
And then so it was very similar to the Rack Jendon thing. Was we watched the B-wings we watched like one game in like Crate Cord of B-wings. And I was like, oh, that works. We should probably try that. And the same thing happened where we were watching. I think it was like Tyler and Boom playing some. Oh, happy birthday, Tyler! Right, it's his birthday today.
That's Tyler's birthday, yeah.
Let's go. And I think it was Tyler and Boom were playing a game, and it was just whatever, like Vader Sim 2 against like the Rat Jendon. And I watched that game, and I think Stanley, I think you may have been there too.
I was there too. We first were like, "Huh, this Rack Jendon seems
I
like
watched it.
kind of
Watched
scary."
that game, and I was like, uh, that seems okay. So then I started. I also kicked the tires on it, and then we played some games internally. And the takeaway was, boy, this game is really hard, and most importantly, it's my opponents. The onus is on them to figure this out. It's not my problem to figure out. I put rack where I put rack. I put deathfire where I put deathfire, and it's 100% in God's. It's in their hands to figure out the problem. They have to solve it, not me. So that seemed like a pretty good recipe for a good list. Is present a problem that your opponent has to solve. Otherwise, you win. So that was kind of the thought process.
And so after you started adopting that list and putting more practice reps into it, how did you feel about some of the major matchups you were expected to see at Worlds?
So we threw a couple games together of it. Also, I think Stanley, you were also involved in the participation because in the prep for that because we were prepping for it like the day before, that night before was that Wednesday night, I think.
Oh, when we got the Indian food?
Yes, that was my big prep game against Resistance basically. Besides just watching games, was just getting like a basic rundown type stuff.
Yeah.
But we did against Arcs, Republic, that kind of stuff. I felt really good about that. That seems pretty doable. The funny thing with like the Arcs are kind of a funny thing because like there's like the common take is that Arcs are spooky, scary, very they can't beat him, whatever, right? But Arcs are like a common NPC, like they're kind of the default NPC we play against. So my thing is like if you can't handle Arcs, you just don't play it. So I play things that can beat Arcs because I don't want to play things that don't. So the Tomax Plasma and the ease with which Jenin can line up bullseyes and all the I5 stuff and the Deathfire proof proton bomb basically means you can PS kill Arcs like the first round of combat, which is a really good trick. That goes back to the Ubble and the boys way back when. Want to see me kill an arc? Want to see me do it again? That kind of stuff.
Yep.
So that's a common NPC we played against. Resistance T70s, that kind of stuff. Similar principle. If you can kill one before it shoots, you're up huge, and then you kind of just coast after that. Played a bunch against Paul's List. Played a bunch against the B-Wings. Similar type stuff. The Paul's List thing was interesting just because I don't have the PS kill trick, but I do have the shove rack in things, and then they can't lose their stress and they just die. So
Yeah,
that
B-Wing's
tends to
just kind
work
of
out.
floating. They don't have a turnaround fast enough to get through a big base.
Yeah, like Fenral gets absolutely brutalized by decimators. It's great. Those are kind of the big ones. Going into this, I was worried about having a massive FO blind spot because we collectively just hate playing FO. Like it's just miserable to play for us. So we had a pretty big FO blind spot. So I was a little worried about it, mostly with like the jamming off the reinforce and then just going to go dumpster rack. But I had like a general game plan, but it was a lot more uh, theory and just based on previous experience than actual practice against FO. And then, oddly enough, didn't play against Scum or CIS in practice because who cares?
And I think you didn't see one in Worlds anyway, so
Sure
correctly didn't
didn't.
prep for it. um,
Vindicated.
how did you feel about each of your scenarios? If you were to rank them, I
Assault.
feel like each list has like a favorite, a
Yeah.
worst, and then the two are kind of just floating in the middle somewhere.
Assault is really good. Like in some cases, it feels like a free win because you can make the tight triangle and then just park rack in there and farm points while you're doing what you want to do anyway. Um, Assault feels pretty good. Scramble it can be hit or miss just because I don't always have the actions free to go scramble things. As scary as Jendon is, he is not Vader. So he does not have the if when he goes to touch a button, he does not have his focus, so he's a lot more vulnerable to taking damage. Um, and then salvage, I actually think salvage is okay because I am really good at denying salvage with the proton bomb and the proton cannon and rack existing. It makes it hard for people to actually do salvage against me. So it's more the I went on salvage because I get to kill everything and then pick up boxes to close out, as opposed to I pick up boxes and hold boxes all game. And then chance, I think, was my initial read is that chance is my least favorite because that kind of defeats the entire purpose of having these like 7 point points lockers if you can just get 3 off of rack by doing way less work. I don't like that. Don't appreciate it. Um, yeah, so I think assault best, and then probably chance worst.
Okay, cool. Will, do we want to move on to the actual Worlds run itself, or Chamblee, do you have anything else you wanted to note before we went to that?
Uh, I don't think so. I think that's basically everything.
Do you have a specific deployment that you had always used? I assume rack and deathfire near the middle, but anything
Yeah.
else in
So
particular?
the weird, the weird thing, I guess, also with this is that I kind of we got to rack gen in pretty late, because a combo of I was playing other stuff, and also this is when Spook came out, so we had lots of distractions playing in pre-releases. Um, so a lot of the basics were I played Rack at Unplugged. I played a bunch of Rack for Unplugged, so I knew what I wanted to do with Rack because Rack's path is real simple. You just kind of put Rack kind of roughly in the middle, and then you build with you bring your gas. You bring gas because Rack can just plow through gas and not care. It's a good trick. And the whole goal is to kind of you want to make the middle a mess, but you don't want to make it like 3 small rocks super tight. You want to make it a mess so that there are fewer lanes through, but they're all big enough to fit a decimator through. And then you want them to all be gas, because the whole point is if Rack is in the middle, kind of doing a big orbit of the center, kind of patrolling that, if he needs to break locks or whatever, change a path or whatever, he can just plow through a gas cloud and not care because the strain doesn't matter. The ions usually don't matter. Actually, they never matter because I have baffle. So the ions don't matter. The strains don't matter. Nothing matters. It's very 1.0 obstacle interaction
That is
as a
true. That
civilized person.
you if you rolled the crit and got 3 ions, it would break all. Well,
I
wait.
break. I mean, I would break my lock, but I don't.
Well,
I mean, if I didn't,
gas
yeah,
clouds. Gas clouds break locks on you when you fly through them, no matter what. It's not
yes,
dependent on ions.
bingo. So it's
Interesting.
a good defensive trick. And then even if I get ionized, I can just baffle one off, and I hold 2 ion tokens for the rest of the game. Who cares?
Yeah. Granted, that turn you got the 3 ions, you'll have to be stuck taking a focus instead of
Yeah, right, of
reinforce.
course. That's my worst case scenario, so I'm pretty okay with it.
Interesting.
So yeah, so you build this kind of loose. It's like the house. It's the house. So you have, uh, one here at the top, middle, and then or one here, one here, one here. You build a house, and just Rack goes to his house and orbits. Deathfire also kind of goes in the middle. Deathfire, similar kind of deal. You pick this because you want to go middle with Deathfire because he's always deploying first, so you can adjust his trajectory based on where they go. Deathfire does his thing and Deathfires. And if he lives, he gets to go score points. Good for him. And then that was what I had down because I just knew that from playing Rack before. I went with let's just go ahead and deep flank Jendon on one side, and then we'll do the slow roll Telmax thing on the other side, where Telmax goes opposite corner, and then Telmax slow rolls while everybody else is going to the middle or going fast. So anyone on that lane across from Telmax has to commit to do I want to go to the middle and fight off this Rack and contribute with the rest of my list, or do I want to go deep in the corner and go chase Telmax down, which they can do, and he's gonna die. He's 3 points, whatever. He's a bomber. He dies. But if they do, they're chasing him deep in this corner down here, and they're out of the game for a while. And then the whole point is just kind of converge at one point, kill something, and then kind of move on, and then cycle through, and that's kind of the general game plan.
Interesting. What would you say your primary action on Jin is? You said focus earlier. Is that
Focus usually, yeah,
the
because
goal?
I my bit with I think Jendon because he gets his free lock from going fast. So Jendon's job is to remove things from the table as quickly as possible because Jendon the worst place he can be is in multiple arcs because he can only really dodge one shot with his focus. After that, he's kind of just praying. So, but when you get to a 1v1, even with when his shields are down, and you get to a 1v1, he functionally becomes a full throttle defender because he can turn a blank to an eye. So he has his focus. He's just a giga tanky defender. But you want to get to that end game, so by just kill people as quickly as you can. You reposition if you need to get like bullseyes or dodge arcs or whatever, but for the most part, it's focus.
Uh, what was your thought philosophy on spending their shields? Just like no one's shooting at me, spend a shield.
I would do shield spend if I need the kill, basically.
Okay.
So shield if if I have a scenario, this happened in a couple games. If I have a scenario where there's like one person looking at me, maybe 2 people, and I have a really good shot lined up on something with a proton cannon, focus lock, all the good stuff, and I have Rack and Tomax follow up where I can kill something before it shoots, I will spend. If I'm in no danger, I'll spend. If they're biting on Jendon, I'm gonna hold because I don't want to take an
Sure.
unnecessary risk. So kind of yeah, if he's safe, or if I need it. And I think my priority is if I need it more than if I'm safe because I'd rather just get the kill.
Sure. Hey, an arc destroyed is an arc dodged. You know.
Absolutely, that's the Dale Cromwell School of X-Wing.
All right, well, we're gonna pull up here then the tournament summary that you had for your world's run. I mean, kind of go over. You don't have to bat rep at all, but
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, God, could you imagine? This
but
is not no.
anything notable that might have happened.
Speaking of ancient history, that's a Nova Squadron radio reference. The 17-hour flight deck type stuff, right?
Yup.
Bat, bat repping each and every
For
practice
my
game up
fellow
until the event.
geriatrics. Yep.
So let's see. Looks like you started with salvage mission against KF Lee.
Yep. From Singapore, I believe. Super, super, super nice guy.
Looks like
So yeah, this
it was an Imperial
was
squad.
yep. He was like Vader, Merrick, and some bombers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he had
Juno.
Gideon, TIE Fighter. That's what it was. That was
Gideon
actually
TIE
kind of
Fighter,
spooky.
yeah, Juno and bombers.
Oh, Juno, that's right. Yeah, so broad strokes of this game is that this game was over very quickly. He kind of did like a spread thing, and then I got to basically kill Gideon like super quickly and collapse on his small stuff. Um, the funny thing that happened in this game was Vader went hard on Jendon, like trying to go bully him and chase him down. And he did. He kept Jendon honest. Like he spent my focus on defense a bunch and did a bunch of damage. But what like really turned the game was Vader is chasing after Jendon, and then I got I think second player at one point, and I just flew through a gas cloud and I broke the Vader lock. No, I landed on the gas cloud. That's right. I flew onto a gas cloud to sit there to break his lock, and then the next turn because he was second player, he couldn't reacquire the lock, or he was first player. So because I was still on the gas, he couldn't reacquire. And at that point, Vader was like so far out of the game that Jenin just kind of re-engaged and finished killing stuff. And Vader had his ankles shattered because he couldn't hurt or lock Jenin for 2 turns.
That's a neat trick. I like
It
that.
was a good
Oh.
trick. Yeah. I brought those gas clouds for a reason.
No lock for him.
No locks.
Cool. We can move pretty quickly through these.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There wasn't much beyond that. Beyond funny gas interactions.
So we got a Republic squad in round 2 playing Scramble,
Yep.
triple arc, double Y slider.
Yep.
The Chancellor. Actually, I'm pretty sure I've seen this person come up. I think Paul might have faced him as well, or
I
Jorge
think
might have faced him as
every
well.
person we have, Chocolate Chancellor's gauntlet of people he went through. Because
Oh no, did he
I
have a
think
really bad day? Really bad
no,
tournament?
he did really well, but he
Okay,
faced
good.
every person who
Jesus.
got into the cut. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, wow. Okay. Uh, yeah, so this game was Scramble, and I think the thing that I remember most about this was a couple things. I believe I was second player. No, I think I was first player in Scramble. No, I was second because he put one on my side, and then he put one on my side left, and then because I was second, I put mine on his side left. So I basically cut off like half the board. So all the scrambles are in a relatively tight triangle for scrambles because I want to just circle rack through there. Um, so how this game went was I PS killed arcs so they couldn't shoot me. Um, and I was giving up scramble points pretty hard early because I was more focused on doing damage. I think Deathfire died at some point when I probably didn't want him to, which is very sad, but these things happen. Um, and then Rack took a bunch of damage that game to the point where he had to leave. So Jendon was kind of on his own trying to finish things off. And because I killed all the arcs, but because the Y-Wings and the Zs were touching buttons so aggressively, I was still close on points. I think I was actually down on points at some point, maybe a good chunk of the game. Um, but I started working the Y-Wings, but Rack had to leave. So I came down with Jendon to go like touch a point and then start killing stuff. And then I switched my targets because the slider was just happened to be in my bullseye. So I said, oh, okay, I could keep chasing this Y-Wing that has taken like 2 shields, or I can just go kill the Z and just get 2 points real quick right there. And I did, so I did. And then this game came down to Rack running away, like up in the top deep corner of the board, like skirting around on like 5 health or something, being chased by Y-Wings. It was kind of funny. But after I killed Slider, I was able to like fly through some rocks to land where I could touch buttons. So Jenin was just like YOLOing over rocks with no shields. Didn't care. Just I want to touch those buttons as quickly as possible. And then because the Y-Wings were stressed from some bumps, they actually couldn't turn in time because the Republic Y dial is horrifically bad. So that's how I won that game. Is I touched 2 buttons in the last 2 turns, and the Y-wings couldn't respond because they were too far away and stressed. So that was a hard game, and it kind of previewed my problems. I think I might have had with salvage, or scramble, where um, unlike salvage, where I can shoot boxes off and stop the score tap, with scramble I can't stop the tap without like using an action to kill to touch a button. And when I do that, I'm not doing my offense like I want to. So I kind of have to kill things really quickly and then touch buttons. That was
Just
a,
kind
a
of
lot spookier
threat,
game than I thought it would be.
threaten them as much as possible with offense and dare them to hit buttons for their
Yeah,
actions.
like I have to shovel these arcs off the table as quickly as possible, and then once that's over, then I have to hopefully have Deathfire or Tomac still alive to be my button guy. Otherwise, it takes way too much effort out of Rack and Jendon to touch buttons because they want to be killing stuff still.
Interesting. It feels like more and more people realize that touching buttons is very difficult. It's hard
Button's a
to.
good trick, sure enough.
And,
I think a lot of these 6-ship Republic, 7-ship Republic lists are very successful um, because people kind of don't have time to score points and kill things while the tap is going down. Um, like, and I mean, the only reason that I do is because I'm prepared for it. Like, I have the super offense go kill things, and I'm kind of planning for it. And it's hard. So if you're not prepped for it, it can get away from you real quick.
I believe it. Let's see. Your third match here was against First Order.
Sure enough, yeah,
Enchant's engagement too.
yeah. I was not happy about it.
So we
How did
have
you overcome it?
the
This
quick
was
draw
a
quick draw
Wilo
whirlwind
quick draw,
combo.
right? Wilo
Yeah,
quick draw Nightfall.
whirlwind. The quick draw paint the lock, then swarm tactics on quick draw to bring whirlwind up to 6, and then do whirlwind's thing of getting a whole bunch of focus tokens.
Okay, yeah, something like that. Um, so this game was spooky, scary. I was worried about it. And I'm not sure if I'm mixing up this game with another FO game because I can't recall one FO game entirely, and I'm not sure. I think this is what the one I'm thinking of because it was chance. So we had a really big open middle, which was unfortunate, but you do what you got to do sometimes. Um, I put Rack and Deathfire in the middle. I put Tomax off to one side. I put Chitin off to the other. The big thing here that was very helpful was that the FO were split off to either side, and Quick Draw was on one side with Malorus and the other Whisper, the non-Kylo, and then Kylo was off on the other side. So when the non-Kylo showed up, he did the jam thing, but I threw Deathfire, I think. Like I did like a weird like Deathfire, drop a bomb, angle boost 5k to like get quick draw blocked so I could counter him. Um and then I think I missed the block too, something like that. It was not great. This game was a disaster. It was a mess. There was a bunch of flying onto obstacles and bumping and friendly bumping and self bumping. It was horrific, a horrific nightmare. But what did help was that the Whisper went super deep to go get Rack and knock off his reinforce. So Rack went fast and he basically jumped over Whirlwind and then had a range one shot behind him to a Whirlwind that had no tokens. So I got to Vader him, then kill him, like right off the bat. So I got up 4 points and the middles of 6 points, like really early. And then I kind of got to just nurse that home while things like slowly died. And this is the scary thing about FO is that because everything has 3 agility and then they're super annoying to play against and they're all jamming and stuff like that. Um, you usually like don't score a lot of points until very late because things take damage, but don't actually die until super late. Like I think like the reason I got to 21 in that game is like I think that the last turn I killed like Kylo. I killed Kylo and Malorus and like half quick draw in one turn. Like that was something silly like that. There was like some horrific, bomb drop nightmares and lots of blocking. It was a mess. Just a mess. A messy game. But Rack getting the free kill helped a lot, and then Rack did a bunch of work, and Rack was I think he was kind of ignored, so he got to kind of do whatever he wanted, even though he was. I kept locking with Rack to prevent being jammed, and he never got jammed, so he got to just take like lock shots at the time. It was fun. I like it.
Cool.
It's not as bad as I thought. I was expecting it to be a lot worse, but I think it was more because they didn't really convert. It was the cluster missiles I don't really care about because I've got a big booty and like 4 ships, so he'll never get to cluster me anyway. Um, but the other one was I'm really worried about Rack getting jammed and then converged on by the entire list, and that never happened.
Yeah, because that Whisper jams at I3, you can get like a protection lock even turn one.
Yep, I can take my safety lock, but if he gets to jam me with the I3 and then Kylo comes in and jams me, then he can really scare me. But I mean, Rack is also scary, I guess, so it never happened.
Cool. Cool.
It
Well,
looks like on to round 4, you're in assault, but you're
Yep.
unfortunately in a civil war.
Yes. Yes, we had the very unfortunate we have to go play each other in round 4. It was very stupid. Very unhappy about it.
Jeremy playing
Um
his teammate Andrew Cox.
yep. So we did play this game. This was an actual game that was played. Um And this game kind of got really, really out of hand really, really quickly because so we had been doing lots of prep the night before. We did the warm up, we did the Wednesday night stuff. So we've been doing lots of prep. And we've been doing the vast majority of our prep for the B Wings because Andrew had to get brought up to speed with stuff, and then Paul wanted more practice. I didn't get a ton with my stuff in because I know Rackham will figure out Jen as we go, kind of. So we had a good bit of idea of how the B Wings want this game to go. I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do, but I think my goal was to get like Braylon PS killed, or if I can get Gina PS killed, which would be huge, I would take that. So just pick a B Wing, kill it, and trade it for Telmax, hopefully, and go from there. And then just keep Jendon away from the wedge APT because it's very scary. So I did the same thing where I make the middle a mess, and then Rack and Deathfire in the middle, Telmax in the short side to do his slow flank, Jendon on the deep side to go fast. The B Wings went opposite Telmax, Keo did too, and then the thing that they worked on, Paul and Cox worked on, was positioning for Wedge and Gemmer, where they kind of start in the middle and then they turn based on where they need to go. And then basically Gemmer's job is to go deep and score points. And Wedge's job is to kind of escort Gemmer and zone out things that are scaring Gemmer, and then come back in and finish off whatever the B Wings are starting on. Um, so that was kind of the plan. Gemmer set this block for Jendon, who missed it, so I got to escape. And then the one thing that he did this game that was really bad was he did the Keo thing, as Paul refers to it. The Keo thing is where every single person who plays Keo seems to just send Keo deep solo, and then Keo dies, and then they're like surprised. I can't believe Keo died when Keo is by themselves against an entire list. So that happened, and I got to kill Keo for free. And then I killed Keo for free, and then after that, I got to go kill some B wings. Jendon did not get blocked by Wedge, so he got to blow past and then finish off a B wing, and then the game was kind of just over at that point. I think Wedge did get the APT off, and he had like murdered. Maybe he did Rack. I don't know. Didn't matter. It was mega over at that point. Losing Keo for nothing was really, really bad. Because that wasn't just points, it was also, I mean, the points for Keo was also the points of objective that they could have held. But yeah, it worked out pretty great. Plasma Torping B-Wings is fun. Big fan.
Yeah,
A pretty good trick.
One evade.
Yeah.
As long as you get 2 hits, pretty easy.
Oh yeah, no, they're feeling it. They're gonna feel it for sure. And then it's very funny when the B-Wings are trying to do their side bomb drop stuff. When the B-Wings are bleeding health and Rack is relatively full, where Rack just doesn't care. Ion Bomb, yeah, whatever. I'll baffle it. I don't care. Proton Bomb, yeah, sure, whatever. Got shields. Don't care. Super don't care. Very fun. Rack getting to bully things is quite possibly like it's. I know it's wrong, but it's very fun.
It's fun when I do it.
It's cool. Yeah, right. It's cool when I do it.
Yeah. That does remind me. I mean, how much? Speaking of B-Wings, just because they stress themselves, I didn't ask you about Death Troopers.
Oh yeah, they're so brutal.
How?
What a dumb card. I love them.
Maybe up the points a little bit. AMG. Come on, a little bit.
Maybe.
A little bit.
Just
5. Get it to 5 loadout at least.
I mean,
but
maybe. We'll see.
How did you notice your opponents trying to play against it? And like maybe what ways can you force your opponent to have to deal with these Death Troopers?
So I didn't notice like there is like the kind of the playing around Death Troopers. I think what happens a lot is people forget they exist. And they like it also happens to me. I forget they exist sometimes. And I remember, oh hey, Death Troopers. I should have used that. But I don't see much playing around it. It's kind of hard to play around it really because you kind of want to do your thing anyway. And if you get stressed, sometimes you just get stressed and it happens. But it just lays into and builds off of what Rack wants to do anyway, which is just kind of get in the middle, find a big scrum, and just cause a mess. Stress everything, bump everything, take these random shots, just cause a mess. Big traffic jam. And it wasn't relevant every game. It was super relevant in my top 16 game. That was a very big Death Troopers game. And then like the Malorus was not very happy about Death Troopers. You still do it. You have to. I'm not gonna not do it. But the B-Wings, it mattered a bit, but the funny thing is the B-Wings don't actually care as much because their abilities work anyway. So they're losing one action, but they still get like Genius still gets her target lock, and Brilliant still gets his focus. So it's not that bad for them. Fangs hate it. God, Fangs hate it. It's so bad for Fangs.
I bet.
Oh, because they can't escape either. Because the fastest they can go blue is a 3, right?
Yeah, they don't have a 4.
The 3 straight.
Yes, they can't even get away from it.
Yeah, you need afterburners. I'm pretty sure
it's awful.
To even have a chance.
Oh yeah, it's awful. I love it.
All right. Well, we'll go on to the last round of day 1 here, going against Sith Taker Tim and his Republic 7 ship.
Mm-hmm. No arcs. Not a single arc. Lots of V-Wings and Torrents and Z's. I believe, Stanny, this is what's referred to as Bald Mountain.
I mean, just
it's a variation of it.
It's a variation where it's just I'm bringing 6 to 7 ships of Republic, a vast majority of 3 agility, and/or sharing the stacks of tokens.
Yeah,
and not really attempting to do damage.
Yeah, this was a horrific matchup. This in Salvage is like the stuff of nightmares. Because all these things can do is they can just go pick up boxes and run away, and they're really hard to kill. And that's basically what happened. The worst thing about this game is that it started so well for me, I put my boxes. I make the tight triangle of boxes so they can't. Because the whole point is they want to grab something and leave. So I want the boxes to be as tight as possible so they have nowhere else to go. So I got that. They all came in one big clump into the middle, and I got to do the Deathfire funny. I got 5 with Deathfire. I got a 5 proton bomb combo with Deathfire. Like, I got a 5 proton bomb combo with Deathfire. I got to Contrail rolls up and target lock something. So I got to Vader him, proton bomb him, and I had a Jendon bullseye and a rack range 1. No, it wasn't a bullseye. It was not a bullseye, but a Jendon shot, a rack shot, and a Deathfire shot. I did no damage to Contrail.
Oh no.
After Vadering him and proton bombing him. It was
So he's
awful.
at 2 health, and he has what, like probably a stack of tokens available to him from everybody.
It was so right, and I Vadered him. He didn't have any tokens. Like he locked, but he had he had the 2 evades from the torrents and the focus from Click. He had Click up too, so it was brutal. And then the problem is that his stuff dies slowly. He probably can't kill Rack or Jendon, but he can definitely kill Deathfire and Tomax. So once Deathfire dies, he's already up. Then you can grab boxes, and then the onus falls upon me to start A, killing guys, B, killing the right guys. So it was a horrible nightmare dumpster fire of the guys with boxes and the guys hurt were the ones doing the blocking. So my range zero, my good shots were range 0 shots, which were bad. So I did so much damage to that list and didn't kill more than like 2 ships, I think. It was actually a horrible nightmare. Only game that went to time, too.
Well, I mean, 7 ships. I mean,
That was rough. Well, like, that's the thing is it's one of those ones where it's doable. Like, obviously salvage makes it a lot harder. Yeah. Winnable, but I did not make the decisions I should have. I think this was a case where I learned during that game, because we talked about it beforehand, that Click supersedes Jendon. So
sure does. So you had to spend your shield without knowing if he's gonna click.
So I was like, so I can spend my shield to do nothing. And he's like, yeah, I don't want to do that.
Sounds real bad.
The funny thing is despite the fact that Contrail didn't die, I did not spend my shield because I didn't want to lose a shield for nothing. But in retrospect, I still should have, because that eats up the Click, so Rat can do it. Also, Jen is never in danger anyway, so his shields don't matter. That might have helped, might have not, but it was an incorrect choice on my part to forego the shield spend because of loss aversion. Don't fall victim to loss aversion.
Yeah, it
loss aversion is bad.
It comes down to player order of if you're.
No, it just says Click is king.
The moment there's a range bonus, Click and say no.
Yeah, but he has to spend his token before he spends his shield if Click is first player.
That part is true.
Yeah, so
that's what I'm saying.
Like Jendon makes the decision first, and then Click says no.
No, only if Jendon is first player.
Yeah. So either way, I should have done it even knowing that it would have been turned off, because that would have turned on racks and it would have been better.
Yeah, because if Click is first player, you have to give them the opportunity to say, "Are you going to spend Click?" And they say, "No," and then you could spend a shield and still get the range bonus.
Yeah, Click, my beloved. But yeah, so that's how that went. A horrible nightmare. Probably the worst possible scenario to see that list on. And like Tim knew his plan, played it correctly, did all the right things, so he takes those.
We move on to day 2.
Day 2.
Yeah, you
start off with
did,
a Rebel
1-4, so pretty good.
Yeah, 4-1. It was pretty happy with, quite chuffed, as they say, as Tim might say. I don't know.
We're on scramble against rebels, and only a single B-wing. This was a
It's a
Luke
custom
Wedge,
Gina.
Luke
Yes.
Wedge, Gamma Keo, and custom Gina.
Yep. So this game was I hadn't played against. No, I mean I had played against this stuff. That's the weird thing is that this game is doable from like a matchup perspective. I think I just played this like really badly, like really badly. Um, I wanted to try and kill some A-wings early because they were going to be the ones who were going to be scoring all the scramble points, and I wanted to shut them down early. Probably shouldn't have gone for them because it's easy just to miss on that. Whereas like Luke, you can always kill Luke. Luke's always just free real estate. He's not going anywhere. Gina's the same way, so you just take the free points. That's 9 points you can pretty easily score every game. Um, the big thing here was I got behind on damage because I was shooting the wrong stuff. And then after getting behind on damage, I was down on scramble points because he was just touching buttons the whole time. So I was like, okay, well, I have to get back in this game, so surely I should touch buttons with my i6 because he's i6. Why would he touch buttons? Big, big wrong. Not smart. Because all that did was like slow the bleeding, not stop it, because he has more stuff anyway. He can just throw another A-wing out and touch a different button. And because I'm not doing damage at that point, I'm not getting back in the game. So I changed my approach halfway through the game to touch buttons when I super shouldn't have. And then by the time I realized how wrong I was, it was weird. The snowball was so bad. It was so far out of my control, out of my hands at that point. Yeah, that was kind of the basics of that game. Yeah,
So a tough morning to start the day.
yeah,
Uh,
rough way to start. I mean, at that point, I had lost two in a row. I'm like, oh god, it's over for me. I'm in shambles. I'm an actual
more like
just
Chamblee at that point.
true. Yeah, that's me. Yep.
Yep.
We
You got to win
we are
4 in a row.
reeling. There's no way I can lose three in a row. That's not possible. Can't be done. Never happens.
And then you come up against a first order list,
A
but this time
triple whisper FO.
triple whisper FO, but in assault. So you have a scenario you want, but like an odd matchup you probably don't want to see. Maybe it's like a question mark, right? You didn't
Yeah, so
figure it
it's
out.
it's I want to see assault because assault is my face, what I'm best at. But like FO is still enough of an unknown as far as matchup goes where I'm not sure how this is going to go down. Um, and like I don't think triple whisper is good, but I also know that it can really cause rack problems. So it's not about whether it's good against the field, it's going to be a pain for me. This is the game I don't remember anything about. And I don't know if I am conflating it with the previous FO game. I don't I was thinking about when this happened. Was this before or after lunch?
This would have been
Right
before
before.
lunch.
This is the before lunch game. Okay. Yeah, I don't remember a thing about this game. I can't. I have no idea.
Just went on pure instinct.
I
So
have
Oh,
no idea. I know it ended 2019. So the problem was, and the worst thing is I have no idea if a 2019 game is actually close or not because of how like points are scored late. I have no idea,
yeah.
but I can only imagine that we're probably looking at something like if these FO guys are kind of slow rolling it, kind of coming down one edge deep, I can get Rack in there and just start killing things before they like jam me up and cause problems. Deathfire bombs. I don't remember a thing about
if
this.
if
I
I
have no idea.
if I know anything about Kester Smith, he's 5 forward boost, 5 forward boost.
Yeah, he did go very fast against me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he does not slow roll his whispers. No, he's coming. He's trying to find that
Perfect.
range 1 and range 2.
Yeah, so this might, I mean, again, I don't know if I'm conflating the FO games. This might be the game where the Whisper goes mega deep really quickly by itself, and then Rack just one-shots it. It might be this
Yeah,
game. I have no idea.
that
Could have
might
been
have been
Wraith.
Nightfall because
Oh,
he's like, at least in my game, he kept Hylo, Wrath, and Gaelic together.
Right.
Mhm.
Then he kind of put Malrus kind of in the middle island, and then Nightfall on the other side. And but the Nightfall in my game like kind of turned away and played in the corner like Funny Hero Man would do for us.
With my
But
boy.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone deep with Nightfall before.
Yeah, it might
Well,
be. Actually, wait, you know
to set
what?
up the K turn. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
I wonder, was I smart? Let's go find out. Do I have my, no,
Did you do
I'm not.
turn 0 pictures?
We did.
Positive. That's a smart strategy.
Nope, didn't do it. All right, not smart. Confirmed. Okay.
That's
All right.
okay.
Well, I tried.
We'll
But
assume
yes,
that was this one then.
let's go with that. I'm gonna go ahead and one of those FO games, one of those two FO games. I know that a Nightfall went very, very fast and basically like flew behind Rack, or flew directly in front of Rack, who leapfrogged it, got a range one shot after Vadering it to kill it, and it was very fun.
Yeah. It probably was this game because I don't expect Whirlwind to be the loader.
Yeah, because he's usually more of the chill with quick draw and swarm
Yeah.
tactics and do stuff like that.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it might have been that. But yeah, if you have the opportunity to just kill something really early for free, I would highly recommend doing it. It's a good trick.
A good trick. Well,
Good strategy. Kill their stuff, don't lose your stuff.
well,
The best.
we'll move on to what you said you were getting some practice reps in. The 5-ship resistance, 5X
Yes.
to be more specific.
Yes, actually 5X wings.
Chance engagement.
True. I wasn't really happy about chance because T70s are really good at chance. It is, and I'm not so good for it because all those guys are giving up 2 points anyway, so it doesn't matter. And my guys are giving up points left and right. This game was so when playing against like jousty stuff, what I like doing is I like putting an obstacle at the range 2 middle of their deployment zone, so they can't just make a line across the top and kind of go down. That kind of forces them to split up a bit. And then when they split, I get to kind of to get better engages since they aren't all together. Because I kind of want to separate them out and like pick a couple off before they get like a full blown head-on joust. So if I recall correctly, this one I think this is a pretty similar deal. Rack, Deathfire middle, Tomax to one side, Jennett on the other. And I think what happened in this one is that he split. He had the 3 Vanessa and Elo and Jess, I think. Is that right? Is that what he has? I know he has Vanessa. I mean, he has Temin on one side. He had Temin on one flank, and he had somebody else on a different flank. One of the other one, whoever it was. And then what happened there was I got the converge I wanted because this stuff kind of slow rolled. I went really fast with everyone because I wanted to get there as quickly as possible. And then Jendon did a 3 bank and then kicked in his little afterburners thing and boosted. And he lined a bullseye up on Vanessa. As Tomax had Vanessa locked and Rack had Vanessa, and I launched a proton bomb into her face. So I got to PS kill Vanessa, like before she could get to shoot. Very good trick. Big fan. I liked it a lot. I credit Stanny with giving me the idea to PS kill a T70 so it can't shoot. Very
Such a
brilliant
novel
recommendation.
Smart.
Yeah, I respect it. That's smart. That's a smart
Vanessa,
play.
Vanessa is definitely one of the more softer targets and easiest to do it because she already wants to kind of like hold on to that focus for barrage rockets, and yeah, she shouldn't. Ideally, she's not the one hung out to dry in that situation.
Yeah, I think it ended up being that she was with. I mean, she was with Jess and Ello, but because she just happened to be the one who was in my bullseye, I was like, oh, she's I4. I can kill her before she shoots. I could kill Jess before she shoots, but she has all the rerolls. It's probably not. That's probably too risky. I could kill Ello, but he gets to shoot, and I don't appreciate that. So I elected to kill Vanessa, and I put Jendon kind of at risk. Like he sat in Tevin's arc and just shot. Oh, that was also the game where I think Tevin doesn't have an HLC, right?
No, this is heroic R68
That's
Ferris
what it was.
paint.
Yes. So I also remember. So this is my thing with custom pilots, and it's kind of come out a lot over the past, especially that came to a head at Worlds. Is I think I just hate custom pilots. I think I'm just out. I just don't like them anymore. I just want to play SLs, and the reason is because I think basically every custom pilot that exists, you can boil them down to like the one relevant upgrade they take, and they take like 6 upgrades. But like there's only one that matters. Like Snap, the only upgrade that matters in Snap is HLC. Does Snap have HLC? I have to respect it. Does he not? Eh.
I'll
Same
argue
deal with
crack
like,
shot also exists for him, but essentially that's the same thing.
yeah, right.
Does his bullseye matter?
Is he a bullseye guy? Yes? Okay. He gets to weird spots, he can boost and be annoying. I have to respect him. Is he just a normal T70? Alright, fine. We'll get to him. Not important. So I remember that from like setup. It was like, oh, like when he put Snap down, I asked him, hey, do you have HLC? And he said no. And I was like, let's go. I like it. I liked it. I was a big fan because I think Elo had the HLC, right?
Yes, Elo had HLC and Kare Kun had HLC. The other I4.
Oh, Kair-kun. Yeah, perfect. Yes.
Yep. The
So
Daredevil T70.
huge. Yeah. So because I didn't have to respect Temin, I got to just go all in on Vanessa and kill her. That was fun. And then after I killed her, the circle of suck happened where Rack just kind of circles the middle and doing damage, doing damage, doing damage. And then we're just kind of like chipping away at each other. Here's a couple points. Here's a couple points. Deathfire got super low and ran away. I think Tomax died probably. That sounds like Tomax. That's pretty iconic for him. And then no, he didn't die. He was taking range 1 shots because he used all of his plasma torps. My guy, good Tomax, good dude. Oh, it was Jendon. That's what it was. Oh no, that's what it was. This game was the game where. This was the game where I did that whole preamble about how I don't have to respect Temin, right? This was the game where, well, Temin doesn't have HLC. I don't have to respect him. I'm going to take this lock shot into Vanessa with Proton Cannon. I'm burning the shield because the only shot going into me is like a range 2, maybe range 3 Temin who doesn't have a reroll and doesn't have HLC. And we killed her. And then Temin knocked all my shields off and half Jendon. And I was like, whoa, I didn't sign up for this. I don't like this. This is not cool. Not allowed. Illegal. And at that point, Jendon had to run away and dodge shots while Rack is doing the circle of suck, and Tomax is helping. That's what it was. So I had Deathfire and Jendon running the entire game. And it turned out okay because Jendon, when his shields are down, is a full throttle defender because he has his ability to blank to eye. So as long as he's only taking like one real shot every turn, he's not taking damage.
Yep. And without a full throttle defender, without needing to even do those 3 to 5 speed moves.
Oh yeah, it's a very good trick. So he was running, and then the X-Wings all kind of went after Jendon, and because they're going after Jendon, Rack kind of has free reign to do whatever he wants. So they're trying to farm my points. I'm trying to run away, and I'm just kind of slowly whittling everything down. And then we got to the point where Jendon is kind of running like into a corner because I'm just here to delay and drag these guys away from the middle. So when Rack does kill something, I get to kill and cap the middle too. Um, and then he has to converge. So normally when you're chasing a ship like that down that doesn't have like functionally focus evade every turn, um, you kind of just cast a wide net and you take the shots you can, and then you have multiple ships, you can cast a wider net and you take the shots. But because Jendon is the way he is, if you have two ships after him, they both have to shoot him for it to matter because the first shot is just not going to matter. So, because of that, I got to force them into these like 50-50 guesses of do I go here? Do I go there? Am I going to 4K? Am I going to 3 hard? Who knows? And as long as I'm right on a couple of those, Jenna no longer dies. And then I get to be free and leave. And then these guys are kind of in a corner in chance, not helping anymore. So he turned the corner, cleared them, got past, and then he got to kill Karakun, I think. I don't know. But the whole time, Rack is just kind of circling the wagons in the middle, doing points, killing things, whatever. And that's how I won the game, was I killed his ship near the middle, then scored the middle, and then I went up to like 19 at that point, and it didn't matter. I think that's what that was. Yeah, that's what it was. That was the I don't respect you 10 because you don't have HLC. Oh, you did 3 and took my shields. Okay. Well, I'm still right, but not happy about it.
All right. Well, you begin your claw back here after 2 losses in a row.
True.
Go up against Innkeepers, Galactic Republic, more arcs.
Yes, more arcs.
3.
This is the 6th ship, right? It's the Torrents.
Torrents, yep, and 3 arcs.
Okay. So this is Assault, and then I know that they like Assault too. So it's kind of a rough. I'm not really sure who's right here, but I went for the tight triangle. We kind of had a 2 tight triangles of objectives. I had the rocks, the loose cluster around the middle. And the game plan here is very much just kill the arcs as quickly as possible and then go from there. This game was, I think, like super cursed, if I recall correctly from the start, because I think we had multiple turns of like horrific bump chain nightmares because it was like arcs and rack, so just awful bump chain nightmares. I think I had a self bump in there too, where Jendon once again like took some punishment and got down on shields pretty early, and it was pretty spooky. I did kill arcs like I wanted to, and then the really dumb thing I was doing that felt just horribly, horribly abusive, but I don't know, do what you got to do. Where I was using Telmax to basically block Rack, so Rack wouldn't move. And then because Rack has Dauntless, he can just friendly bump and then just get an action anyway. So I had Rack parked on like 3 objectives, 3 objectives, and just Telmax would just move, roll, basically, and just block him the entire turn for like two turns in a row, something like that. So Rack didn't move, fired to full effectiveness, and also just farmed assault points. It was dirty, super dumb. But I don't know, what are you gonna do?
I mean that's Rack's objective, as you said.
It,
you build the
that's
tight,
what he does.
Build the tight triangle and assault and go. That's your new home, Rack. Go.
I live here. I sure do. Telmax is gonna keep me in the house. That's fine. So then yeah, Jendon had to run. So while he's running, I'm trying to kill things with Rack, Telmax, and Deathfire. It worked out. So this is a very relevant, like, this is a game where Deathfire lived for a long time. And in the games where Deathfire lives past like turn 4, I'm not really sure what to do with him. But because I'm playing against Arcs, he has a very relevant gun. So he just becomes a guy who shoots. So we just did that. Yeah, and then she was chasing down Jendon, and sure enough, because it's one ship chasing Jendon, he takes no damage ever. And then I got to clean up, mop up a bit. But yeah, that was a horrible nightmare start. I was very unhappy to start. That was also a game where I think we had to have like I think that was my game where I had a record, like I think my personal record of like 8 judge calls in a game just to resolve bumps and moves. It was painful. We basically had a table judge. Uh, like we almost had a table judge because we had like 3 turns straight of multiple judge calls in a turn to untangle the arcs bumping rack who was bumping and not moving, but altering his trajectory ever so slightly. It was so bad that we had to get a time extension. But the game was done before normal time was called, so it worked out.
There you go. Not too bad. Well, we'll go on to the last round of Swiss here against the infamous Van Langen. He's playing another First Order. Jeremy, you should have
More
practiced
FO.
first. You should have
I hit
practiced
so much
First Order.
FO. Yep.
Yep. This time, salvage.
Salvage, yes. And this is the Giga Swarm Tactics FO
Yeah,
stuff.
this is the same
Yep.
thing, the Quick Draw Whirlwind combo.
Okay, so this game was probably the game that I'm most proud of as far as like planning, execution, whatever.
This,
Uh,
to set the
Especially because
stakes
Fawn,
as well. This is a
yeah, like the
win-win.
stakes are high, and like I know we know Fawn. We know Fawn is like actually good at this game, like actually smarter than me. So this is like a really like this is a real final boss moment for sure. Um, so this was I did so pretty similar deal. I put Rack on the outside lane, and I put Tomax and Deathfire in the middle. I put Deathfire middle, and I got to the point seconds. I got the full vote of seeing what he had, and he put all of his stuff in my top right corner there. I put Deathfire here. I put Tomax here. I put Rack here, and Jed in here, and then Midnight went up there. So what I did was I want Rack to go up the middle, and I want Telmax to flank, and I want Jenin to flank. So what I did was I basically rotated the table where I turned my normal deployment zone into the flank, and I turned my left flank into my deployment zone, kind of. So Rack went fast and then turned across the middle. So Rack was coming up the middle just from this angle. Um, and the reason I was able to do that was because Fawn stuff came down, and it came down in a straight line as opposed to like an angle or a boost line. And the fun thing with FO stuff, quick draw and stuff like that, is that, and this is like stuff we were working on a long, long time ago in the ancient days of Boom Camp, of like when FO stuff starts straight and runs down the gutter, it can't respond to the middle quickly enough. So you kind of get, you know that you have like 2 free turns to kind of position and get things set up. So I took it. I did that. So I let Rack and Deathfire pick up boxes turn 2 because I knew the FO stuff couldn't get there in time. And sure enough, they couldn't. The only shots they really had was like a range 3 shot from Wrath, I think, into Deathfire. It knocked the box off, which was I was unhappy about. It was kind of unfair. Uh, I I don't like that. It's not cool when my opponent does that to me. It's cool when I do it. But because I knew they were coming in pretty slow and they had one real angle they could come from. Telmax is slow rolling in this little bottom part, like he's doing like a 1-2 hard roll, like super mega slow roll. But there's a gap for him to come through and take a nice plasma torp shot. So we engage in earnest, and I get the fun launch, Deathfire launch, get to go blow something up, could do like knock a box off of something. Um, no, actually, yeah, I didn't. I elected not to launch because there was nothing to really launch into. Didn't really want it that turn. I wanted the turn after, and I got Tomax to come through and pick up Kylo because I was very smart and chose to roll second player. So I got to Plasma Torque Kylo, knock all of his shields off, felt good. The big thing was that Midnight rolled in super fast, and I lined up a bullseye with Jendon, and I Vadered Midnight, and then I blew up Midnight before they got to shoot, and that was very fun. I burned the shield for that. I did the shield focus lock proton cannon into a 3-hull Midnight and blew it up. It was awesome. Very big fan. Like that a lot. And then after that, I did the funny launch into Quick Draw because I wanted to ping off Quick Draw Shield and get the ability out before it gets modifiers and stuff like that. And sure enough, in true fashion, I was punished for it because Quick Draw's unmodified shot, I think, like knocked all of Jedin's shields off. I don't know what was going on with Jedin. He was having a real bad couple games. He had Midnight chasing him, so he was kind of unhappy at that point. So, but I killed Quick Draw right after that. And then Kylo ran away because he had no shields. And then there was that random Whisper at Midnight running around. And Rack had a box this whole time for some reason. It was great. Because all the shots were going into Jendon. So Jendon had to run because Midnight was chasing him and had him had him locked up. And I wanted to go find Kylo and put him down. And then Telmex had to run because he was dying. Deathfire was also dying. And then what? I think my bombers both died. It was very sad. Kylo ran away. He came down this side, came in, lost his shields, ran this way, turned around, killed Deathfire, and ran like all the way over here. His story arc was very, very long and developed. And then Midnight was chasing down Jendon and couldn't quite finish him off. I did another funny gas trick where I flew through gas to break Midnight's lock. And then Midnight also flew through gas because Midnight was chasing me, and Midnight got ionized and then died. That was fun. Big fan of that. Also, at that point, it didn't matter because I was up so much on crates because I was holding boxes with Rack the whole game that Jendon dying would have been bad, but not like game losing. And then the other fun thing that happened in that game was Kylo picked up a box the very last turn, and then Rack like 3-banked onto a cloud to just get inside range 2 to Vader him because Kylo was on 1. And that was fun. But yeah.
Mean Vader.
Yeah, it was fun. I liked it. I want to do it because it's cool. But that game felt really, really good just from a general like game plan execution standpoint because I was able to identify very quickly that the FO stuff couldn't get to the middle in time. So I got to pick up boxes early and start building an advantage. And we didn't actually engage in earnest until like turn 3. I know the common thing that happened in the game is like you want to fight turn 2. We didn't really fight turn 2. We had like pot shots turn 2.
Mm-hmm.
We fought for real in turn 3 because we were kind of jockeying for position. Yeah, that was that game. I felt really good about that game. That was the game I was very happy about, very proud of, I guess.
Sure. I mean, that puts you 8-2 over 2 days. Pretty good. No draws.
Yeah.
So it seemed like everybody else was somehow finding a intentional or unintentional draw. By that point,
This is the so everybody. I was also very, very happy with our team performance because Paul did great. Paul was unlucky enough or lucky enough to get a natural draw early on. And then he ran into this problem where he was exhibiting a theory. He was curious about a theory where the turns after he drew, he got thrown into like the draw player bracket. And then he noted that his games in the draw player bracket were much, much easier. And then he lost his pair down game when he got paired into someone who didn't have a draw.
Mm-hmm.
The theory being that if a person draws on accident, they're probably doing something wrong. So that game's going to be easier. But a person who hasn't drawn a game probably has a better idea of what they're doing, and that game would be harder. that worked, I guess. That made sense for him.
That's an
But yeah, he did
interesting
great.
thing.
He did great. Cox he was on the bubble, and I think he had an unintentional draw at some point that kind of killed him. And he was the big loser of the Grasser Nathan draw because that bombed his SOS because I think he lost. Yeah, he bombed his SOS. So he was the loser of the Grasser Nathan draw. Very unfortunate. And then Travis did all of our tournament math for us. So I knew that I couldn't draw, or if I did draw, it'd be a very big risk. So I had to keep playing.
Yeah, because being 7-1-2, you had to have good SOS.
Yeah, it's spooky. Very spooky.
All right. Well, that brings us to the top 16 match on Sunday. Third day now of playing just X-Wing.
It's a lot of
The old
X-Wing.
Adepticon.
Oh yeah. So last year, I didn't even make it out of the LCQ. So I had a huge vacation where I got to do so much stuff in Chicago that had nothing to do with X-Wing. It was great. We went to museums, aquariums, walked around downtown, did cool stuff. Uh, didn't do any of that this year. I did nothing besides play X-Wing. It was I wasn't much of a vacation, I guess, but it was fun in its own way.
Looks like your top 16 match here against, I want to say Articuno, but that's not how you say that name. Actorino?
I think so.
I think it's Actoriano.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Yeah,
Not
works for
Articuno.
me.
Is fine. A 3 T70 plus 2. Now you got warmed up with the last Resistance squad. How'd you feel coming into this top 16 game? Because you did have the night to prepare.
We did, yes.
Yeah,
So
this is Juan Jose Garcia Roche.
The Roche, yes.
This is the other currently 6-0 player in the NCX event.
Okay. All
nice.
They are both Juans.
Huh.
Really? There can only be Juan.
Stonk. Yeah.
Okay.
Stonks up on if your name is Juan in the NCX league.
Okay.
Fair
I
enough.
accept it. So yeah, we got to prep this the night before, so that was good. The big thing with this matchup is that what's the Y-Wing's name?
Sorry.
Zori, that's it. Yeah, she has a name. Perfect. Zori is very feast or famine, where if she's second player, she can Giga Plasma toward me, and if she's not, she's a useless Y-Wing. So my game plan was A, be second player, and then B, kind of just kill whatever I can. It's chance again, so I'm not super happy about it, but I think the general game plan is kind of break up the approach so they can't all come together as one. Get a cool Deathfire bomb, and then just kill something. Either kill it before it shoots, or just get something down that Jendon can PS kill at the next turn. And then hopefully kind of get them to split their fire between Jendon and Rack. They're both going to take damage, but hopefully they won't get killed. And then Telmax does his super slow flank on the one side, where they either have to dive into a corner on him or just let him do whatever he wants. So this game went about exactly as planned. Temin went down the middle. They all kind of went together. I got a cool Deathfire bomb. I got to be second player, so the Y-Wing was useless. I killed the Y-Wing pretty quickly. Jenin was pretty safe. He took some damage from I think the spooky thing that happened in this game is that I accepted shots from Temin once again. I didn't take all my shields this time, just a couple. But after he hit Temin once, he put all of his shots into Jendon, even if they weren't good shots. And that made me very nervous. I didn't like that. I didn't realize how much I didn't like that until I was living it. Didn't appreciate that whatsoever. So I took some more damage on Jendon. Wasn't very happy about it. But I did kill Zori, and then Lulo went super deep, flanking me like behind Tomax. So I got to do the fun thing where I get to put Lulo in Ion prison, and Rack was there. So not only was Lulo being ionized, he was also couldn't remove his stress while bumping Rack. So Rack kind of just Vadered him slowly to death. And then
That is definitely like
oh yeah, that's like
a very bad time for Lulo.
Oh, it was miserable for Lulo. So because he got damage in on Jendon early, he kind of tunnel visioned on Jendon, and then Jendon ran away again. And while he's running away, Tomax and Rack and Deathfire are just uh, racking up damage, if you will. Just killing stuff, whatever they can, doing what damage they can. I got to counter net Jess before she could K turn, so she was out of the game for like 2 turns while I was busy doing other stuff. So that was very helpful. And yeah, that was just a once that happened, it was kind of brutal. Once the Rack Death Spiral got online and Jendon kind of slipped the net and left, the game was like mega super over. It was really bad. But yeah, it felt good. The prep all worked and paid off, so I was very happy with it.
There you go. It helps to do the homework, you know?
It does.
Well, we've come to the final game here. This one we did catch on stream.
True.
I was very excited to see both of you guys battling it out. I know, I know what went wrong in this one.
It might have been maybe. Could be anything.
Could be it. Could have been anything.
True.
What do you think it was? Going up against Marco was running 2 arcs Mace, 2Z, and a Y-Wing. So switching the 4 for a 5-pointer, so he has got to run 2 2-pointers. That's how math works.
Yep. So I thought the list was cool the second I saw it because I'm a big Mace fan. I think Mace is a super underrated ship, so I was very happy to see him. I knew he was also going to be scary because usually I felt okay going into arcs because I can kill them so quickly, but I was worried about Mace specifically because the Aether Sprites are so good at Scramble because they can kind of get to whatever buttons they want quickly without really giving anything up. So I was very worried about Mace. So what I wanted to do was kill these arcs as quickly as possible. So did do that. What happened, obviously, is that Jendon took like 6 damage in the first engage, got dropped to 1. Very unhappy about it. I never went back and looked at the math because I don't want to make myself insane. But I will say that based on my previous games where Jendon took a bunch of damage early, I'm not really happy with him taking damage early because he needs to actually contribute, and when he's running away, he's not. It's okay when he runs later in the game because there's less stuff to kill, and Rat can kind of do the heavy lifting at that point. But I think I put Jendon in an unnecessary risk position where it was a good shot, but I probably could have gotten out of a couple arcs by using the afterburners thingy and like rolling away or something, or just taking a kind of a slower approach and forcing Mace to kind of either come into me or go into the middle and get flanked. So I think Jendon may have been too much. I was happy with Tomax and Rack. They got to do all their things and do the fun stuff. And then it kind of spiraled after that because now that Jendon's on 1 and Mace has heightened, I'm not guaranteed to get my second shot, which I wasn't. So I tried to move Rack into a position to coordinate Jendon to give him like a boost or something to get away so he could get into a spot that couldn't be contested. And then I had to kind of guess where the blocks would go down. I guessed wrong. I also didn't get my coordinate range right. That was painful. And I was like willing to self bump Tomax to get that coordinate, and it didn't even pay off. So it was brutal. Then Jendon died, so we're already into like nightmare timeline. So all right, well, how do I get out of this? Well, if Mace is here, I can kill him. He's 5 points. And I can kill the Arcs at my leisure, kind of. So I tried that. Couldn't kill Mace. I had pretty good shots. Like they weren't wasn't a guarantee by far, but it's one of those. Once you're losing, you gotta start taking on more risk, and risk begets loss, and it gets worse and worse, and you dig yourself a hole, and that's what I did. I dug myself a hole and couldn't get out. So unfortunate. And I know, and I won't just say it was like my dice. But um, Marco did a very, very good job of identifying what his win con was and what universe he was in. So he takes those shots that are only going into Jendon, and he does some damage. He's like, oh, well, I could take the shots that I was going to take into like Tomax or Rack and kind of go back to the game plan. But I mean, he's already down on Jendon. He has no focus. If I kill him, I just win the game. So I should do that. And he did. And he was correct too. So yeah, very good. Good job. Good job. Good job on him for identifying what universe he was in and what he should be doing to win in that universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense. How do you approach lists? Obviously, you train a lot of lists, but when you see something like that, when you're like a mace, I didn't plan for a mace. What do you do to try to game plan that as quickly as possible?
Uh, so for the mace in particular, I was mostly just I want to keep all the scramble buttons close, so he can because if he has one deep off to some side, Mace can very easily get there, touch it, and come back really quickly. So I wanted to keep the scramble buttons close, and I wanted to just kind of stay on my game plan of Mace is different, but he's also pretty similar to like Sock Anakin, where he is
True.
this dodgy, kind of nimble force guy who can like end game close out and blow things up and kind of be an ace. So pretty similar, just kind of I just similar approach to that where like I can't really afford to go chase him,
Mm-hmm.
but if he's there, I'll take the shot. But I just kind of have to race him down. Like if I go kill the arcs before he can do bad stuff to Telmax, then probably okay.
Right on. Well, obviously, congratulations on an impressive run.
Oh, thank you.
A murderous row of players
True.
at this year's World Championship. You were boasting about your 12-year history. Most of these players that were at the Worlds were boasting over 5 years, 10 years of playtime. So no slouches at most of the tables out there. Obviously, everybody had won Store Champ or World Qualifier or something like that to make it there. So still very impressive to go that far. And with a relatively untested list, brand new battle over indoor Jendon. But we do want to finish out. We got less than 10 minutes. But Ryan wants to hit you with some questions here about Empire going forward.
Yeah, just after your experiences with Empire, like I don't know, what do you see average Empire player playing until on the expected points update? Do you expect a lot
I
of people
think
to pick up your list? Do you think people still gravitate towards the Vader pilot?
maybe I don't know. I'm not sure how popular Rack Genin will actually be. It's I think there's like a general. I mean, like I think Will alluded to this earlier, right? There's a general skittishness around playing four ships. Um, where like that it's a very comforting security blanket having that objective monkey running around. So having like a four ship list can be kind of spooky sometimes. I think Rack in general kind of intimidates people because he's weird and like doesn't get to boost. You kind of have to commit to him pretty hard. So I imagine that assuming, like if this is like some weird, like nothing ever changes type deal, I imagine the double I6, like Vader Sunter stuff stays popular, probably picks up some more. I think Jinin has a hard time with double I6 because I lost a game in the prep tournament too, and that was to Joel, who was playing double I6. And that was pretty spooky. I didn't appreciate that. Um, the one thing that I've been playing locally that I like a lot. I don't know if it would get picked up because it's not the kind of stuff people tend to like very much. But I think Stanny's also played it. Is the Gorin Swarm,
I
where
love it.
it's so fun. So
So cool.
you have Gorin, right? Who's the lock breaking guy on lower initiative dudes. You can take him. You can take Laurier. You can take Scythe 6, the BOE. Definitely not Scorch. The Scorch we have at home with Pattern Analyzer, as it turns out, or something like it. Yeah, you can take Scythe 6 and Laurier and Deathfire and Tomax and Scimitar 1 from BOE, and you have like a 6-ship list, and almost everything is under I4 besides Tomax. You just take Tomax because Tomax is bonkers. And then you have this really dumb, like, defensive thing where you can just pull shields off, pull locks off of your low initiative guys so they don't get PS killed. And then Scimitar 1 hits like a truck. He's so cool. And Size 6 is cool. And Laurier's cool. It's just cool. Cool list.
Did
Yeah.
you somehow turn into Marcel? Because if Marcel was here, he would give. This podcast would go another half hour about that list. He
Hell yeah.
has
That's
been
my guy.
loving it.
I think
It's so
Marcel was the only
fun.
person to actually bring Gore onto Worlds. He just had a different version. But yeah, no, that 6-ship one I like a lot.
Yeah, and I think Size 6 is World's top cut pilot. I think Grasser had Size 6,
Yeah,
right?
Grasser had Size 6.
Size 6?
Yeah.
Really
We
good.
love Size 6.
Underrated. A TIE fighter. Would you believe it?
TIE Fighter. It turns out TIE Fighters that roll 3 attack dice are cool. We like them. Who knew?
Four
They are
range
cool.
one. Wow.
True.
And had 4 hull.
Bring the shield and pattern analyzer
Yeah,
and predator and other rerolls. I mean, the guy just
Yeah,
doesn't
and no
stop.
escape. Yeah, and no escape triggers really easily in a 6-ship list.
Guy
yeah.
just
You can
doesn't stop.
you can 4K and focus. It's cool.
Yep. So now, you were talking as if if everything stayed as is. Well, we expect things won't stay as is. So, what do you expect to see in the Empire get maybe hit with the nerf bat a bit, or maybe get buffed up that you'd expect maybe AMG be like, hey, this maybe should see the light of day.
Sure. So expect. I'm not sure. I have no idea. But if I can wish list, I would
Give
like.
us all your
So
wishes.
hit me. Yeah. Okay. So I think Tomax is a 4-point ship. I think Tomax is insane. I think he's like the best 3-point ship in the game by a mile. He's nonsense. I was thinking about Tomax, and I was thinking about Tomax in terms of other like 4-point ships in Empire, like Merrick. I would take Tomax before Merrick. Like I wouldn't even think about it. I would think about Faroff, but I wouldn't think about Merrick. Tomax is so good. Good God, he's amazing.
I mean,
Yep.
he hits as hard as Vader, who's twice as expensive
So
as he is.
the comparison we make to Tomax, and the reason that it seems so silly when we made the comparison initially. Um, like one of the reasons I wasn't playing. This is for Unplugged. I didn't want to play Rebels because, like, yeah, like Boy Luke is pretty good, but like, man, he just dies. Like he gets like he gets like 1 or 2 good shots off and dies. Like he's 2 agility, 6 hull. He just gets blown up by stuff. And the reason I'm not playing Rebels is because Empire also has a Boy Luke who costs 3 points, and it's Telmax. Telmax also has 2 agility and 6 hull and just dies. He also has functionally a proton torp because plasma does 4 damage to shield stuff. But he's only 3 points.
And carries an ion bomb.
And he has an ion bomb too. Why not? Yeah, Tomax is crazy. Like he's a 4-point ship. Like he's wild. And then Rack, I also have problems with, not just because he has a billion upgrades, and I hate a billion upgrades, but I think the Rack as it currently exists with like Vader and Death Troopers is just insane. Like it is very similar level to like Bist and Han. It's just that your second attack is just Vader, which is kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
So
He just
Rack,
he gets the whole kit he wants. So
yeah, right.
Han used to get the whole kit he wanted, so Rack probably similar treatment in the future.
Yeah, and I think yeah. So Rack either make him 8 and let him take all the stuff he wants, but he costs 8, or make him 7 and cut his load out. Also, Death Troopers should probably not cost 4. They probably don't cost enough. They're really good.
6.
Yeah.
Those are probably the big ones as
Something,
far as like.
anything.
Those are probably the big ones as far as nerfs go. Everything else seems pretty fine. Empire actually seems like in a pretty good spot overall. The weird thing about Empire is that their bench is so deep. It's weird. But the more fun stuff, the buffs, I want to make so many SLs better. Good God.
And
All,
the
like,
Empire the Empire
The
starter kit
starter
came with
pack.
more than just
Ugh.
Vader,
the
right?
starters, like, I mean, you
Starter
could almost
pack,
go like
yikes.
you could go if you go down the list of all the other bomber SLs that exist, like the Reimer with afterburners APTs and the Jonas that has, is it the barrage proton bomb who can launch a bomb after someone gets shot or something like that?
I don't know if the one that launches mid combat has barrage, but maybe.
Maybe. But basically every other bomber that's not Tomax could probably be 3 points and they'd be fine. Because they have like barrage rockets, or they have like plasma and feedback ping on Jonas. They're cool, but like they're not 4 points. They're horrible at 4 or 5 points
Or
even.
5. Some are 5, yeah.
Like the
That
Tomax,
launching
yeah, the
Jonas
Tomax is
is
5
5.
points.
Yeah, the launching Jonas, the ability top cover, and then barrage
Yeah,
rockets, proton bomb.
that's a cool trick, but like it's launching during combat, so it won't even go off for a turn. It's fine. Let it be 3. Go for it. And then I want Valen to be 2 points, like starter Valen, because he doesn't do anything. He's just a little TIE fighter. Who cares? Like Night Beast is pretty tough, and Hebsley has a hull upgrade, so you probably can't make him 2 points. But
Oh yeah, Valen doesn't even have a hull. He's just a regular TIE
he
fighter.
doesn't do anything. He's just Valen.
Yeah,
Just a
there's
guy.
no.
And precision ion engines. That's literally it.
And then like the only ships in Empire that really aren't seeing a ton of play are like heavies, strikers, and the V1s, and like the gauntlets. Gauntlets in general probably just need like a little bit of a bump. I don't know, like maybe a points drop here, some more loadout, whatever.
Look, they're allowed to. I think gauntlets can be cool. Just don't bring the Mandos back.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
They
Price
I
up
know,
the
I
Mandos.
know,
Like
I know
pre-Vizsla,
people love
is
their
it pre-Vizsla?
Mandos.
No, is it
hard.
Gar Saxon, the pilot who like lets guys? He's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. He used
Gar
to be
Saxon's
8
a
for a
cool
while.
pilot.
He was somehow more expensive than Rack for a while, which was
I don't know.
I don't
But
understand that.
I know that I played Gar Saxon like 2 points ago when like Zerdik was 3 points and allowed to be played the game, allowed to be played. Oh yeah, make Zerdik 3 points again, please.
Their attack
Like maybe
was
not without
strong,
maneuver, but like passive sensors, please.
so.
But the strikers are all rough. They could probably just use a couple more points, or maybe like a 3 point striker. I don't know.
Yeah,
Duchess
the
should probably just be
weird
4.
thing. The weird thing with the like, it almost defaults to Vagabond being the one being the 3-point striker because I don't know if you could put a countdown or Pierce Sabak at 3.
Yeah, right. That seems a bit much. Like,
Yeah,
I really, like, I think, like,
all the strikers have good abilities.
if you let Pure just get a shield upgrade and some real upgrades, he's probably okay. And Countdown's close to okay right now.
Oddly,
and
the more we see like maybe 4-ship iterations of lists and like the Wedge ABT and the Proton
Mhm.
Cannon like Jenin, like Countdown doesn't care.
Yep. Oh, and Endor Sapphire 2, the interceptor who does the funny barrel roll, should be 3 points as a Laurier 2. And if you want Laurier to die for that, I guess that's okay. It's fine. I won't be happy, but I'll accept
Don't take
it.
away Laurier.
Look,
3 points.
My boy.
Look,
so
just if everything gets replaced, just make it all SLs. That's my actual wish. Make it all SLs, please. And Meanda could be 3 too. Meanda's actually pretty cool. Like the Swarm Tactics weird TIE fighter. Not 4 points. Good God. I'm not paying 4 points for a TIE fighter that's not Backstabber.
Even then. right?
I think but I think that's basically Empire. Yeah, like they're pretty close. Like make some of the SLs better, and then get strikers and heavies back, and I think we're okay.
I like that idea. I mean, they should be pushing those starter boxes anyways. Like
Same. Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
whole point. Like
Like
the
Yeah.
rebel
they
ones
should be
and the
good.
Empire ones are so bad.
So
I'm not even
bad.
saying make them the best things out there. Just make them
Playable.
decent.
Yeah.
Just playable, please.
I think it would be easy. But anyways, any
Yeah,
other
I think
ones, Ryan?
I think the only starter pack card that we even see is Vader.
Vader.
Is that right?
Basically, yeah.
It's the only SSP.
Sometimes rarely Merrick, but that's still a 5-point
The
Merrick.
Merrick is so
outmaneuver
cool.
Merrick?
Oh
Starter
man,
Merrick is
that
cool.
Don't
that-
He's not
he is
good,
very-
but he's
don't
cool.
even
no,
start.
no, that is a thick Merrick. That should be 5 points.
Yeah, he probably is. He's probably not good, but he's fun. I like him.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think that's my general.
That was it, Will. That's all I got for Jeremy. Beyond anything else you or James may have yourselves.
No, just big congratulations.
Thanks.
Holding up the rack end of the spectrum for large bases. I always
Star Wars
feared-
Galaxies mentioned.
There you go. Last question. Who's your swoop leader?
Right now it's Boba.
Okay.
What is Boba's ability?
Boba gets a bunch of fun resources. He gets to when stuff dies, he gets to get resources back.
Oh, that's right. When he collects a
Cheating
bounty.
resources.
He just cheats resources. It's great.
Oh, I almost forgot. I have one last thing. Not
Yes.
involving you, Jeremy. Thank you so much for coming on. By the way, before I rudely cut you off and go on to a different tangent, it was really insightful hearing all of the strategies, especially when you only have 4 ships. Like you got to be pretty deliberate in your setups and your planning, especially Rack. Like Rack doesn't have halfway through the game make a wild deviation of your course.
No, he commits pretty hard.
Yeah, you can't just roll, like barrel roll out of a. It's like, oh, I was a little bit too close to the rock. I'll just barrel roll.
But before we go, I have to mention the XVT Season 28 sign-ups are closing. They're open right now. You can go and sign up. But they're closing too soon. Mega Silver, who runs those events, just reminded me with his 4-year anniversary here in our chat. But I meant to mention it last week, but we got so wrapped up in talking to Paul, lovely Paul, that we didn't even talk about it. But now that deadline is upon us. The end of this week, the 28th, is the last day to sign up. I'm going to have the link to the Roll Better tournament. That's tournament 1454. Roll Better makes it so easy. You just tournaments / the number. It'll take you right to it. I'm going to set up all the information. But this season is a super jank tank, he's saying. So you have to deal with randomized lists throughout the events. What could that entail? Who knows?
That sounds fun.
It's going to be chaotic, but if you want to join in that and find out more, like I said, that tournament for the Roll Better is 1454. And it has a link to all the information, the Discord that you got to sign up for, the form to submit your factions, all of that fun stuff. But they're open to anybody. Just come and join in. You do got to be on the server so you know what is going on in the event. But Tommy's been running them for a long, long time. As I mentioned, season 28. So if you are looking for some more X-Wing tournaments, a little fun side adventure, if you're going to cast the competitive aside for just a little bit as we wrap up this kind of Worlds season, moving on to that next Grand Tournament season. It'll be a great interlude in between the two. So like I said, I'll put that link in this video. I'll put it in the chat as well. to sign up for that. But that's all I had. Just that Tommy runs great events. I'm excited to see what this Jank Tank is all about. Super Jank Tank, as he said. But we've reached our time. Again, Jeremy, thank you so much for joining in. Always a pleasant conversation with you. I liked the exciting stories you had to tell.
Well,
and
thanks for having me.
As someone who's flown rack, I'm glad to know, or glad to hear that some of the things I was doing with the rack were also valued by other Rear Admiral turnout players. But a really, really an impressive feat. Only top 8, but still an impressive run for you and your team.
Oh yeah, I was very happy with the team performance. But yes, the eternal top 8.
Maybe next Worlds.
Well, look, we had a Worlds.
That's a terrible joke.
We had a Worlds in 2019. Took a break, right? We had a Worlds in 22.
Yeah.
So Worlds in
Like I said,
23.
still,
so 25 will be the next Worlds, right?
I'm transitioning from what I say earlier. Transitioning from disbelief into bargaining. So.
Yeah.
You know, eventually there'll be another one, right? Right.
Yep. No.
You know what? There will be another one of, though, for sure, is another episode of Gold Squadron coming out next week. Of course, every Monday we record live on Twitch. You can catch me and James playing some games on Wednesday nights, hoping to get some more of those Nickel City Draft League games. So fun to have the different teams involved. And, of course, be looking forward to any announcements about those grand tournaments. We're very excited to hope to go to one. We are trying to lock down our Nova flight plans. Nova's in like August, though, isn't that right?
Labor Day weekend.
I don't know what that means. I labor every weekend, so
usually first weekend of September.
September,
Usually.
okay. Perfect. I'm glad you like that one, James. Anyways, that's our cue to get on out of here. Again, Jeremy, thank you so much. For everybody watching at home, thank you for joining us. Stay safe, stay smart. Gold Squadron out.
Thank you to ISO, Danko, Baffle, Trojan, Prophet, Shadow, Tycho, Spice, Raider, Lancer, Fallen, Row 6, 626, Chief, and J List, our Grand Admiral patrons. And all of our Gold Squadron patrons and community members, thank you for your support. Gold Squadron out.